Willkommen zurück zu Tales of Arise. Es wird jetzt langsam immer ernster und aber auch immer verwirrender, aber auch immer faszinierender. Es ist wirklich ein phänomenales Spiel. Wir sind hier auf Deck Versoul. Es hört sich ein bisschen an wie versohlen, aber naja. Ja, wir haben hier Kontakt mit, ja, Hevrekt aufgenommen und hier komme ich irgendwie nicht so wirklich weiter. Ich glaube, es schlägt gerade hier allerhöchste Alarmglocke. Ist es hier? Es scheint den Zustand von Hevrekt-35 zu kontrollieren. Viele Vitalparameter werden angezeigt. Okay, bloß nicht den falschen Knopf drücken. Wir dürfen den hier nicht ausschalten, denn wir wissen ja noch gar nicht, wie wir hier wieder rauskommen. Oh, was jetzt?
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dahna, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dahna completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dahna.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevrekt-35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Gut. Ich hoffe, wir finden noch die anderen. Vielleicht sind das ja wirklich die roten Frauen. Vielleicht kann ich jetzt mit dem Fahrstuhl fahren. Aha, jetzt geht das also. Okay, hier ist tatsächlich eine Sternmarkierung. Dann gucke ich mir das hier einmal ganz kurz an. Was ist hier? Künstliche Pflanzen und irgendwelche... Ja... Mist, Astralenergie, Fluktuation in Dahna und Rena. Okay, also hier wird Astralenergie überwacht. Aber ich sehe hier sonst nichts anderes. Es sieht ein bisschen aus wie in der verbotenen Zone.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrekt-35 when he mentioned that overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dahna and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Okay. Wir sollen mit den renäischen Forschern sprechen. Okay, ich sehe hier keine Kiste. Dann bitteschön.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquill.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Dahnans by the Helganquill.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquill. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquill are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Dahnans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Dahnans that the Helganquill kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dahna now.
Helganquill technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries.
They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquill are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
And let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
Die Schöpfergabe, die die Helganquill aufweisen, erstaunt mich jedes Mal aufs Neue. Ob Zeugel, wir Renäer oder alles andere. Ach, die Zeugel ja auch noch. Ich vermute, dass unser Eins viele Generationen braucht, bevor wir ihr Niveau an Expertise und Kultiviertheit erreichen. Okay, was hat die hier zu sagen?
Have you guys lived up here in Deg Faisal with Hevrekt-35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis,
So our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrekt-35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquill have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquill themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquill, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrekt-35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Der Aufseher und ich führen viele belebte Debatten zu einer ganzen Reihe von Themen. Politik, Philosophie, Wissenschaft. Oh weh. Das ist ja... Ich genieße sie stets. Als Angehörige anderer Spezies sind unsere Blickwinkel so einzigartig, dass es intellektuell anregende Gespräche sind. Die leben hier echt in ihrer Bubble. Ich gehe davon aus, dass auch der Aufseher sie genießt. Sie sind ein exzellentes Mittel, um der Monotonie in Deck-Versol zu entfliehen. Oh Mann. Irgendwie... Es wird ja immer krasser. Eine Sternmarkierung haben wir noch, aber was ist hier? Eine scheint dauerhaft überwacht zu werden, um sicherzustellen, dass sich Deck-Versohlen nicht nähert. Okay.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dahna's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dahna's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied.
Also Elfen.
The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dahna, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dahna. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrekt-35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
Das stimmt, die warten einfach auf Dahnas Ende und essen dabei Popcorn.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Dahnans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Dahnans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dahna on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Okay, die Gruppe hat sich aufgelöst.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot.
So viele Möglichkeiten gerade.
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrekt-35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrekt-35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Bislang sind die Dinge auf Dahna genau nach Plan verlaufen. Toll. Ich fühle mich geehrt, den letzten Stufen eines Ereignisses beizuwohnen, das generationenlang vorbereitet wurde. Ich bin gespannt, wie es endet. Soll ich noch Popcorn irgendwie vorbeibringen oder... Also, das ist wirklich ein schrecklicher Fakt. Was haben wir hier? Eine Schlafmöglichkeit und hier sollen wir uns unterhalten. Okay. Wenn ihr müde seid, dann könnt ihr euch hier ausruhen. Es sollte euch allerdings nichts ausmachen, dass wir hier unseren Winterschlaf halten. So, immer noch diese fröhliche Musik. Schaut gerne vorbei, wenn ihr euch hinlegen möchtet. Ja. Gut, dann gucke ich mal. Okay, was ist hier auf der oberen Ebene? Ich will erstmal gucken, bevor wir einen Point of No Return haben. Das weiß man ja nie vorher. Okay, ein unbekannter Raum liegt vor uns. Mal sehen, ob wir da rein können. Okay, wir können tatsächlich rein. Oh. Eine Aussichtsplattform. Wenn das ganze Schicksal gerade nicht so beschissen wäre, dann würde ich sagen, ist das hier ziemlich romantisch. Oh, jetzt kann man Rena mit seiner Blume da aber richtig sehen. Erinnert mich ein bisschen an den zweiten Sailor Moon Film von den gefährlichen Blumen, die dann auch auf der Welt sich angesiedelt haben und Energie ausgesaugt haben. Also den Menschen größtenteils. Aber gut, das ist jetzt nur so ein kleiner Schwenk aus meiner Vergangenheit, woran mich das jetzt gerade erinnert hat. Aber krass, ich hätte nie gedacht, am Anfang, als wir angefangen haben, das hier zu spielen, dass das so hier verläuft. So, Kisara, meine Gute.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Dahnans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So... to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is... well... I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquill and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Dahnan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Dahnans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Dahnans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power, and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning. But I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Jetzt sollten wir darüber nachdenken, wie wir mit dem Schmerz umgehen, den wir alle fühlen. Ach, ich mag Kisara. Aber ja, wir sollten uns ja mal umhören. Der Plan zur Geisterbeschwörung wird bald endlich vollendet, da der Aufseher nun das Ende seiner Lebensspanne erreicht. Nachdem er sich bereits unzählige Male in einen Ruhezustand versetzt hat, war dies abzusehen, um es vorsichtig auszudrücken. Was machen wir, wenn das Projekt vorüber ist und nichts mehr für uns zu erforschen bleibt? Tja. Wir beobachten weiter, solange es Dinge gibt, die es zu beobachten lohnt. Wenn unsere Zeit gekommen ist, werden wir wieder zu nichts. Irgendwie bedrückend. Ein passendes Schicksal für diese Station und ihre Bewohner, nachdem sie in den Kosmos entsandt wurden. Vor Hunderten von Jahren. Das ist doch alles ein bisschen schräg. Okay, den können wir heilen. Ihr habt mich wieder zusammengebrochen vorgefunden und mir aufgeholfen. Das weiß ich zu schätzen. Dank euch kann ich weiter forschen. Na toll, jetzt haben wir noch die Zerstörung Dahnas angekurbelt. No, bleib bei uns. Glückstrank. Jetzt forscht er weiter und zerstört weiterhin Dahna. Perfekt. Haben die Renäer auf Leniges die Kontrolle über ihre Zeuge verloren? Es wäre angesichts der ganzen Astralenergie dort nicht unplausibel. In dem Fall wurden wohl die Arts, die sie im Zaum hielten, gestört. Ich bezweifle, dass es andernfalls das Werk des großen Geistes war. Des großen Geistes, um Gottes Willen. Ich stimme zu, es ist schwer vorstellbar, dass ein derartig riesiges Bewusstsein ein so lokales Phänomen aushecken und bewirken würde. Vielleicht ist das ja nur der Anfang. Und dann kommt noch ein Plot-Twist. Es ist wirklich, also, krass. Da steht Rinwell und, okay, ich kann hier nicht durch. Hello.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dahnan mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Dahnans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dahna anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Dahnans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah, I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Dahnan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Renwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dahna's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Hevrekt-35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dahna's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
Das hoffe ich doch. Ich hoffe, es kommt irgendwann der Tag, an dem Magier so normal sind wie alle anderen in Dahna. Bestimmt, Renwell, und du wirst da auch deinen Beitrag zu leisten. Es handelt sich um Deck Versols Baupläne mit einem zentralen Fahrstuhlschacht und mehreren kreisförmigen Bereichen. Okay. So, mal gucken. Ich muss jetzt einmal nach da hinten laufen. Da war eben ja tote Hose und jetzt soll da richtig was los sein. Der Aufseher bleibt aller Wahrscheinlichkeit nach bis auf Weiteres bei uns, da seine Vitalwerte weiterhin stabil sind. Trotz seines Aussehens ist seine Biologie unserer überraschend ähnlich. Ist das nicht unheimlich faszinierend? Wenn die ganze Situation nicht so traurig wäre, dann ja. Der Aufseher muss so erfreut sein, dass er die Transformation Dahnas mit ansehen darf, bevor er das Zeitliche segnet. Boah, wie die alle hier reden. Auslöschung und Tod ist für die anscheinend was Schönes. Als Leniges aktiviert wurde, wurde auf die Sicherheit der Einwohner von Wohnvierteln offenbar kein Gedanke verschwendet. Nicht, dass es eine Rolle spielen würde. Nach Vollendung des Plans ist Leniges nutzlos. Es ist nur logisch, dass es dringendere Anliegen gab. Okay, Leniges wollen sie also vielleicht auch noch loswerden. Mist, Astralenergie, Fluktuation in Dahna und Rena. Abgesehen von den unvorhersehbaren Entwicklungen in Leniges verlief alles recht reibungslos. Selbst wenn wir solche Deviationen bemerkten, würden wir sie vermutlich ignorieren, da uns unser Leitbild als Beobachter das Eingreifen untersagt. Oh, wie so ein allwissender Erzähler, der aber nicht eingreifen darf. Okay. Ich frage mich, ob der Renäer immer noch keine eigenen Nachnamen erhalten. So roh diese Taktik auch ist, sie ist effektiv zur Unterwerfung. Wobei wir nicht so verschieden sind. Sie mögen klangvoll wirken, aber Nachnamen sind bloß Mittel, die formale Herkunft eines Einzelnen auszumachen. Nein, wirklich. So, Dohalim, sag an.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, It's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dahna, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dahna, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dahna, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Dahnans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dahna peaceably. As the one and only blazing sword, I suspect the Dahnans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Dahnan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Ach, schön. Es liegt bereits ein langer Weg hinter uns und doch bleibt uns noch so viel zu tun. Danke für deine unermüdliche Unterstützung, Alphen. Ich hätte jetzt zwar von Dohalim eher ein Gedicht erwartet, aber gut, es sind schwere Zeiten. Und die erfordern auch einiges an Kraft. Gut, wir sind wirklich gerade im Moment nur Alphen und Shion. Das bedeutet, Lore steht noch aus und damit der Teil jetzt nicht doch zu lang wird, weil ich weiß nicht, was dann nach Lore erfolgt, würde ich sagen, machen wir hier einen kleinen Cut. Danke fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal.